Hey everybody, welcome back to 3D6 Down the Line. We are playing and continuing our Dolmenwood campaign, episode 19 of playing Old School Essentials. I am once again your host, John the referee, and going around the horn, we have Mike.
Hey, I'm playing Alfric, the third level wizard.
And David.
Hey there, I'm playing Brother Guillem, third level friar.
Matt.
Hi there. I play Halifax Swinney. I am a third level Dolmenwood Knight.
And
Almost.
lastly but not least, Ted.
Hi, I'm playing Argus Dreger, the third level fighter.
With a con 5. With a con 5, right.
You only get one jazz hand for that.
No,
one.
There are a couple of us under the weather. You might be able to hear it in my voice, a little bit of nasally, but we shall soldier on. So last time we gathered together in order to play this wonderful fantasy game. You guys were about to, you had just stepped down into the Grottoes next to Fog Lake, just south of Prigwort. It is the 14th of Simswald. The weather is windy and cloudy. It's around 8:30 a.m. Around 8:30 a.m. And just to give a clear picture of what's going on. Oh, we have a couple logistical things I want to go over too for the campaign. But I know that as far as the retainers go, we have, and these are all Guillems, Brother Guillems. Weevil, the fighter, is back on the road, miles away, over a hex away, with the Mastiff that you have, Puddles, right? Your wagon and your horses are all up there on the road, and he's basically in charge of all of that. Meanwhile,
Perfectly safe.
totally
Perfectly safe.
nothing could possibly happen, as we found out last time. Just don't step on any ferry roads, and you should be just fine. You've also got, and then with you, you have Bregan, the huntress, and you have Pim, your torchbearer.
And Ethel.
And Ethel, yeah, that's right. And Ethel the mule, that's right. And you have set up camp in one of the many caves that are actually lining the basin walls of Fog Lake. So you don't really require a tent necessarily for a good night's rest, which is good. Only one new rules change that I think might interest people, and although it doesn't have much to do with what's going to go on probably for tonight's session, unless it goes in a vastly different direction than what I'm expecting. But just so you guys can anticipate it as well, I have reworked the carousing rules. I think I told you guys this on the Discord, but I'm not going to go over it specifically in detail until we actually get to the point where you'd like to carouse, but I just want to let viewers know that I have added a bit of a Dolmenwood flavor to the carousing rules in general, so that it's more likely that you'll hit something that has like a little bit more to do with the campaign setting in general. I've also changed the mishaps table, which is what you happen whenever you overspend or spend beyond your level, basically. That chart was a 1d20 chart, which means that you had an equal chance, a 5% chance no matter what, of hitting any given thing. I've changed that to a 3d6 chart, so it actually is only it's lesser amounts of things that can hit, but you're more likely to hit certain things because it's a bell curve. So I put the more common things that would be more likely to happen from carousing, such as like hangovers or trouble with the law, are more common to get rather than like the really more obscure things that maybe touch on fairy sort of things.
That would never happen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Does cheese constipation make it onto that list?
It does not, but there are some Dolmenwood stuff that you probably will enjoy. The other thing is a whole other subsystem that I have lifted almost entirely, but with a little bit of my own flavoring from a blog called 10 Foot Polemic, which I highly recommend to anyone watching who's into the OSR scene. It's run by a guy named James Young. Mad props to him for riffing off of the original carousing rules by Jeff Reintz, where I've added a subsystem for philanthropy. So if you're not the kind of character who really would carouse, right, or if it's just not what you're feeling that day, you can actually give money to philanthropic causes, and that means that you have to spend a certain minimum in order for it to be viewed as philanthropy, based upon the settlement size, and in return you have much less of a chance of something bad happen. The trade-off is that you only receive 80% of the gold spent in XP. Right, so we receive a little bit less XP, but you have a lot less chance of something bad happening. So it's sort of just a less risky venture, basically.
Can you get really drunk and inadvertently give a bunch of money to philanthropic causes? And thus start some kind of unholy union?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's the deal. We'll see that in action next time you guys are in a settlement and would like to do that or have the money to do it. So in the meantime, let's get back to the action at hand. We have what I need to know is I was watching the episode from last time. I don't believe at any point did Guillem actually tell me what he had memorized for the day for spells, and that is important.
Well, I had expended the temporary hold person.
That was amazing, by the way.
Planking. So weird.
Aside from that, default assumption I have what I always do, which is light, protection from evil, and silence.
Light, protection from evil, and silence. Okay. All right. And then Elfric, who has just shown up, what spells have you memorized for the day?
Willem, what's it like to have 3 spells? What's it like?
Feels good, baby. Feels good. You know, many a common, observer confuses me for a wizard. I don't know why, but
dang.
Gotta be your exchange of utility and awesomeness. John, I have light and sleep memorized.
Aren't you? Oh, right. Okay. Got it. Light and sleep.
So are we assuming that
I still can't fill that 2nd level spell slot with a 1st level spell, right?
No, that has not changed.
So I'm assuming that we are saying that Guillem just got up late and he's finally joined us at the cave, kind of thing.
No,
yes.
Willem
So basically, what happened?
Sorry, not
Willem
Guillem.
threw himself into the chasm.
Yeah, I meant Elfric. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
that was a joke. Gotcha.
So we're picking up right from where we left off from the last time. So it literally was Argus and Halifax and Pym were making their way down the steps when Guillem's form basically whipped past them and splashed back first, basically, into the water. As you were approached by a number of what you first thought were large insects, but actually you find out that they were actually multicolored sprites, which are buzzing around. Guillem, at the same time, while underwater, had discovered that there is actually a passageway underwater that led to the northeast out of this cavern, but saw that sitting underwater, chewing some sort of, what is it here? A weed, I believe. Let me double check so I don't falsely say it. Some sort of moss, some sort of like lime green moss. That's sort of in their mouth, and they are actually able to breathe underwater, and they're just sort of smiling gleefully at you. At the same time that the ones that are actually buzzing the air are smiling gleefully at Argus and Halifax and Pym. When
Not working at all.
When you hear up above, Bregan, who was actually you had posted up at the lip of the cavern here, calls down and she says, "Boss, we've got, it looks like Alfric's actually shown up. Looks like he traveled all night." And you see, like, Alfric's form, like, tired and bedraggled.
Oh, man. All right. John, so I didn't map this cave entrance last time.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember you thinking that you said it was about 20 by 25, roughly?
The cave entrance. Let me check here. Hold on a sec.
I had this image of like a big hole, like a big sinkhole.
Yep. Yeah, it is. It is.
Like stairs going around, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so yeah.
Roughly, anyway.
So what dimensions are you asking about? The pool itself?
Well, okay. Let me back up and say I want to start mapping. I got to start with this space, the opening, which I don't know if it comes straight down or if it kind of expands as it comes down.
Yeah. So basically the width of the fall itself is about 15 feet wide. Okay, and so the channel of water actually comes from the western part of the basin of Fog Lake, and it kind of runs in and then it falls off. But that fall is about 15 feet wide. So that falls into basically this open airy chamber along the western side of this chamber. That is approximately 15, Approximately 25 feet from west to east, and approximately 5, 15, 20, 25, 30. About 35 feet north to south, roughly. Once again, this is a natural cavern. Okay.
So the opening to the sky is larger than the floor footprint of the grotto?
No, it's actually smaller.
Other way around.
Yeah.
The hole at the top is 15 foot.
So it's like this.
No, it's like a smaller opening, right?
So the opening is smaller than the footprint of the grotto.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so the dimensions you just gave me were the footprint of the grotto?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And come on, guys, where else can you hear phrases like footprint of the grotto? That's entertainment right there.
Right. So there's this tranquil pool, and then there's this stairway that basically goes around the southern. What am I trying to say? Sorry.
South side, right?
Yeah, on the south side that basically descends, right, down to this
from east to west, right?
From west to east.
Descends from west to east. Okay.
Yeah. So you're basically going down right where the water sort of falls over, and it sort of slowly descends down, and it goes down for about 15 to 20 feet before it hits the southern end of the chamber, which is a sandy beach, right?
Okay, so the pool is like the northwestern half of the grotto.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay, and then I think you said that there was we saw a passageway on the north side of the pool.
Yes, on the northwestern side of the pool, there is a small 5-foot wide passageway where the water runs right up to it. And Guillem, as he dove in there, actually heard footsteps retreating from that area.
Right.
And then
that's going north, or can we tell?
It's in the northwestern side, so it's
Okay.
We can't tell what direction it's going.
well, it's generally going northwest, but you can't see if it makes turns or anything like that.
Okay. And then the underground passage was going northeast.
Northeast, that's correct. Yeah.
And then there was something also on the south side.
Yes. So on the sandy beach, which is on the southeastern side of the entire chamber, directly heading east, there is a natural cavern, a natural passageway that's about 5 feet wide that leads off to the east. And in that passageway, Guillem noticed that there is a pulsating purple and orange glow. That's
Okay.
right.
So is that sort of reasonable?
Yeah, that's reasonable. Yep.
Okay. All right, that's a good place to start. Thank you, John.
Yep. Okay. So you so Alfred is at the top with Bregan. Pim has the torch right now, which has just been lit as you were heading down. So no time has actually elapsed turn-wise yet. And then these sprites basically whip up around you, just sort of laughing at you.
Okay. So I think I was the first one going down the stairs. So I will go up to the passage that's on the eastern side there on the sandy beach. And as the light from Pim and the sunlight's coming down, I'll try and take a look down that passageway.
Okay, so are you just basically brushing by the sprites as they're laughing at you?
I don't want to slap them, but I will try and get past them and just not interact with them.
Yeah, do they seem to be trying to obstruct us or just laughing at
No,
us?
but they're coming like right in your face. They're like, and they're like, ha, like that.
Yeah, I will. I'll just nod politely and go about my business.
Okay.
John, what kind of sprites are they? Can we tell?
They're multicolored. They themselves, each individually, are one color, but there's many different colors of sprites sort of all floating around.
Is my knowledge of the Fae enough, wizard, that I can kind of tell like what kind of sprites they might be and what kind of stuff they like? Like, are they into silver? Are they into gold? Are they into buttercups? Like, anything like that where I can kind of give them like some sort of gift to kind of get on their good side.
I don't think you have any particular knowledge of fairy things, do you?
I mean, I'm a wizard. I've trained my entire life in all matters of the art.
Yeah.
And I'm
so.
steeped in the mysteries of the Dolmenwood, John. I mean, come on. Steeped.
Steeped, he says.
Not so much.
Like tea.
All right.
Okay, so you see like there's a couple of yellow ones actually that are floating around. They seem to actually blink in and out of existence, like
That's not
and sort of appearing and buzzing around, sort of like they're just sort of like teleporting from one place to another.
This is fine.
It's not a problem. Let's see. Sorry, there's a whole bunch of them here, so I'm just trying to get a good idea here. You see that there are a number of ones that are pink, and they are actually, as you're sort of talking to each other, that the pink ones actually seem to mimic your voice in like a very sing-song, like derisive way. You know, like they sort of do that sort of thing as they're mimicking your voice.
Like predators.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, anyways, you make your way down, and you're at the base, and you're standing on that the sandy beach.
Yes.
Okay, so I don't want to give up on my idea. I don't want to give up on my idea just yet. Is there, just in general, things that Fae like that someone from Dolmenwood might know?
Making our lives difficult.
Well, the tales are always that, fairies like gifts and stuff like that, in general.
Just offer them something, baby.
All right. Hold on a second.
Engaged. They're like trolls, dude.
While he's doing that, I just want to point
John,
out that I'm no longer in the water drowning. I can wave at the tobacco chewing pixies and come up for air. That's all I'm saying.
You're what now? I'm sorry?
He wants to get out of the water.
I want to point out that I'm not just sitting underwater for 10 minutes at a time. So I was just saying I saw a bunch of, like reed smoking, Fae down in the water, correct?
Yeah, they're not smoking. They're like chewing it.
Or
right?
not chewing, rather.
Yeah.
I'll wave, acknowledge them, and I'm going to come for air. I'm just coming to the surface of water is what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah.
All right. John, I bow to the cloud of sprites. I say, greetings, tricksters of the Dolmenwood, Fae spirits of the wild. I bring you sticks that will help you draw art on the walls. And I pull out 3 pieces of chalk from my pack of 10 that I have.
Mm-hmm.
And I demonstrate on the rock walls, and I draw like a really rude sketch of like one of the Fae, like one of the sprites. And I hand it to them if I take it. And I say, a simple human gift for the immortals of the Dolmenwood.
Okay, what are you drawing it on?
The rock wall.
So how are
and
you?
And I make it like a really goofy drawing. Like
you're handing them the chalk?
Yeah, I hand them 3 pieces of my pack of 10 chalk.
Okay. Hold on, sorry. I'm looking at 8 different versions of sprites, so it's like a lot.
I'm sorry.
Are there any chalk sprites? Is what we're. I think what we're.
It's got to be, man. It's got to be chalk sprites.
It's got to be chalk sprite. Everybody knows the story of the chalk sprites.
Yeah. Hold on. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, they take the chalk and sort of laugh a little bit. One of them actually takes like a piece of your chalk and like tosses it over their shoulder, like Luke Skywalker style, and like tosses it back into the water. But a couple of them actually
toss it in the water, and then it dissipates into a cloud, right? Like because chalk doesn't last in water.
Right? Sure.
And I say, look, the magic is destroyed by water. Keep them dry. Keep them safe.
Keep them dry. Keep them safe. It's like a couple of them say. And then there's one that kind of comes over and he kind of looks at it and he goes right in your face and he has like big fly compound eyes and he says, we're not idiots. We know.
I know you're not idiots. I have nothing but respect for the Fae.
He kind of goes and he this one is what is he? Sigh. He's blue, and he goes and he kind of touches your nose and he goes boop, like that.
He boops me.
He boops you on the nose, yeah, and your nose actually like droops down. He goes like that, like down
I
across your
boop
mouth.
him back.
He laughs, and he flitters away. And as he flitters away, your nose like springs back, like you can actually feel it, like flick, like Daffy Duck style.
So I bow to them again and I ask, "Have you seen any other humans come this way in the last few weeks?"
Yes, we have. He goes many times.
Many times.
Busy the grottos have been recently.
Busy the grottos have been. Have they been polite?
Many.
Have they been polite and respectful?
They tend to ignore us.
Were
They're
any
the first
of them
to talk many
armored?
times.
Were any of them armored like my friend here? And I point to Halifax.
Some were.
Were any of them robed as I am? Maybe a woman.
Some were.
What was the description? What was the description of that rogue wizard?
She was supposed to be like a short, rather stout, middle-aged woman with sort of gray hair.
Maybe a gray-haired woman, short, stout, wearing robes, carrying a staff.
And he buzzes over to like one of his pals, and they sort of whisper. They kind of come back in mass, and as in unison, like a bunch of them talk all at once. And they say, "Yes, we have."
All right.
Haven't seen her
That's
come
pretty
back
cool.
up.
Huh. Do you guys know of any of the dangers that might lurk in the grottos below?
Don't know if it's too dangerous. Seems pretty quiet here. We don't move beyond here. It's fun here in the sunlight.
Okay. Well, thank you kindly for your information. We appreciate it.
Thanks for talking.
Okay. Let's go, boys.
All right, so I'm trying to look down the eastern passage.
I also point out to everyone that there's an underwater passage that may have been a discreet.
Oh, far out, man.
Yeah. So,
Okay. Turn goes by. Pim's just sort of like randomly swatting at the sprites who are kind of laughing at him.
I don't think it would be a terrible idea for those of us who aren't in plate mail to like take a look-see down there at some point.
Okay.
No thanks.
Yeah, I'm not overly excited about the idea of diving to the bottom of a pond.
That's gonna be a terrible idea.
Full plate.
That's probably where the staff of the
I'm saying
Archmagi
those of us
is.
who are not in plate mail. Yes, very important.
That's probably where the staff of the Archmagi is, and I'm still okay. I don't
Okay,
worry
all right. All right.
Guillem, are you coming out of the water?
Sounds like I am, yeah.
Okay, so you come out and you are absolutely sodden,
Sure.
like dripping with cold water. So anything that you had on you that would be ruined by water is ruined, right?
Let me check.
He specified that he stripped down, I thought, before he jumped, didn't he?
No.
I did not.
He
No.
said he a la like Liam Neeson in The Mission. He just went over backwards like that.
Yeah, I did. Also, fortunately, I carry a staff. I wear a robe, and I have several herbs, and that's about it. So nothing I don't think is particularly
Your stash got wet. man.
my tinderbox is wet now. That's the most important part, probably, and the torches. So
You have torches?
yeah, I have two torches.
Yeah, I believe those might be.
No, those would be soaked in pitch. They should be totally waterproof just by virtue of that's what the fuel source is the pitch. It's not like you're just lighting a stick.
That makes sense. Tinderboxes, though, how do they do if you soak them?
Depends on if they're wrapped in like wax cloth kind of thing, like I don't know.
It's not a big deal.
Anyways,
Anyways,
I can ditch them here at the entrance to the cave and get them later. It's not really a big deal.
okay, so yeah, so basically, you see that there are little tussocks here on the sandy beach, especially close to the walls themselves, of this little lime green moss. Okay, and when you get a little bit closer to it, you can see that the moss itself is actually tiny little spheres on top of stalks, and those stalks actually seem to float. The spheres themselves actually seem to float on top of the of the stalks. So, but there's a bunch of them clustered together. So from a distance, it looks just like moss, right? But when you get close, you actually see them. They're sort of floating, and they're sort of all sort of like moving, like, you know what I mean? But they're super little. There's tiny little things.
Where did you say those little patches of moss?
They're just like little tussocks of it, like on the stone and stuff like that, and on the beach itself.
Is it?
I avoid them.
Is it easy to avoid them, or do you have to step on them just when you're moving around?
No, you can avoid them.
Yeah, definitely avoid them.
It might be interesting to see what one does from a distance.
It seems similar in color to what Guillem saw on the mouths of the underwater breathing sprites.
Mm-hmm.
Best case scenario, it does nothing, and then they get mad at us for stepping on their tobacco supply.
Oh.
They eat our head.
Guys aren't putting 2 and 2 together there.
I have an idea. I have an idea. First, I want to see if this stuff explodes. I'm a little curious about it. So he takes a rock at one of the patches of moss and he like tosses it into it. He wants to see if there's like a poisonous like cloud or anything that pops up.
So it's a whole bunch of them, right? Because they're so tiny, they're almost microscopic, right? So yeah, when the rock hits it, they burst, and there's like a little like yeasty puff, just like a little, as like the tiny little spheres burst.
Make a save versus poison, bro.
I was plenty far away.
I mean, it could be underwater breathing moss of some kind, but
yeah, that's what I suspect.
Really
Guillem, you're a man of nature. Do you know what? Have you ever seen this stuff before?
John, have I ever seen this stuff before?
You have not. You have not.
You don't truck with fairies.
I mean, I'll go over and sort of peer close, take a look at them, make the connection that it is or it appears to be similar to what they were chewing on in the water. Yeah.
Yep.
And I'll pluck one.
Okay, so yeah,
is it one, or you have to like pluck a bunch?
You kind of have to. You kind of have to like grab a bunch. They're like super tiny, right? Like you have to take like a patch, like a 2-inch patch, basically, like a clump.
I'm gonna take a patch. I'm gonna throw it in my mouth.
Okay, cool.
I'm gonna chew on it.
Okay, so you do it, and it has like a real it has like a syrupy flavor actually, and you can feel the moss sort of like burst in your mouth, right? Like you can feel like this like spores sort of enter your mouth. Do you swallow the moss?
Bitter swallow, David.
David, don't be a quitter, man.
Okay, yeah, I'll swallow it. Sure.
Okay, so you swallow it down, and it tastes fine. Like once again, it sort of has like this syrupy aftertaste, and you can kind of feel that your mouth is sort of coated with like this sort of spore, basically on the top of your mouth. But nothing ill seems to happen. You don't feel untoward. You just can't help but sort of like run your tongue around the roof of your mouth, sort of thing.
I go over to the edge of the water and sort of get a cup of water and throw it in my mouth and see how I feel about
it. It tastes good. Yeah. You know.
I don't know how to test the water breathing moss without just
in for a pound and for a penny, dude.
Stick your head underwater and inhale, baby.
Oh my god! All right.
I'll pull you back out. We got you.
All right.
Tim's looking at you real weird. He's like,
I'm gonna
looking at you weird too, man.
I'm gonna say, guys, I have a hunch. I'm gonna have a hunch. Our friends here were chewing this and quite content at the bottom of the pool. If it looks like I'm in trouble, grab me.
Okay, you see like a bunch of the sprites are actually sort of, they all like flutter around right towards you and are sort of hanging around. And a couple of them are actually like sort of like wringing their hands. They're like smiling at you.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah, I'm gonna jump in. I'm gonna jump in and see how I feel underwater.
They all cheer. They're like, yeah! And you suck in a big breath underwater despite your entire body saying don't do it. And you breathe clean, cold air.
Well, if that's the case, I'm going to take a few more treads down. I'm going to take a peek in that little gap in the rock below.
I'll get in there. Okay.
You go get my staff of the Magi.
What do I see?
Sorry, give me 1 sec. Gotta check.
Go. All I'm saying is a wizard might have this sort of know-how.
Apparently, I've never even heard of the Fae before.
Well, would you really consider yourself a wizard?
Student at best. I don't even have a second level spell yet.
You gotta study harder, man.
I know.
Get good. Get good.
Get good.
All right, so yeah, it seems that you kind of peek down in there, and it's just complete and utter darkness, right?
Sure.
But it appears to be like a round, sort of 10-foot wide, rough channel for water to flow quickly through that direction.
All right. Well, I'm gonna double check and see if the OSC light spell can be cast on an object. But in the meantime, I'm gonna come up and say, "What wonders, what fey blessings can breathe underwater." And I'm gonna cheer. I'm gonna look at the Fae and sort of do a
They're like, yeah, right.
All right.
And you feel okay out of the water?
You
Feel
okay.
great.
Yep.
And it is true that I can cast light on an object, so I would not think it a bad idea to cast light on a rock and use it as a source.
I've got 3 spells. You should do it. I'll eat some of that weed and I'll go with you.
But yeah, if you guys want to go right now. If you don't want to go right now, we can do something else. But it seems like a fun call to adventure to me.
How long does that last?
We don't know.
Let's take speaking of, let's take a couple handfuls. They were chewing it underwater.
No, I meant the light spell.
Oh, the light spell lasts
hours.
Well, it says
It's
12
like turns.
So about 2 hours then, right? Turn is 10 minutes.
Yep.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's a nice long time.
Meanwhile, Argus, as Guillem is doing this, you were looking down the eastern corridor.
Yep.
You can see that it appears to go directly eastward for about roughly about 15 feet before it sort of jogs to the north a little bit, which you can't really quite see it around. Once again, you're using Pim to sort of like shine his light down there. However, it does actually appear to be lit itself by these pulsating crystals, which are covering the walls and the ceiling itself. So
similar to the ones we've seen in other caves.
No.
New crystals. Okay.
The crystals that you saw in the caves that were above ground were these russet, sort of dull crystals, right? That that dissolve after being exposed to sunlight for a while and can be turned into azoth, right?
Right.
However, these are actual crystals.
Yeah, these seem to be emitting light as well. Maybe we can save a spell.
Yeah.
Are they emitting light, or is the light coming from further down the tunnel?
I'll give you the description here. Just give me 1 sec.
Yeah.
So the corridor itself is about 6 feet high. The floor itself is sandy with white sand, basically, obviously from the where you're standing right now. And the crystals themselves cover the walls and the ceiling. They are about 6 inches long each, roughly, and they phase between purple and orange. So it's not like there's different crystals of different colors. They're the same thing, but they phase in unison between purple and orange. Your eyes, as you're sort of watching this you're not in the corridor, but you're sort of looking at it from a distance, are you feel like you're getting distracted, like you have to shake your head as you're sort of like drawn in by like the pulsating. And you're like, oh, whoa, okay, where was I? And you're like, oh yeah, Guillem's being an idiot. Okay, all right.
So these are E-boy crystals.
And
no one.
You do see. So yeah, it jogs around to the north, and you do see that at that juncture point where it sort of starts to bend around in the southeastern corner there, you do notice that there is something man-made, like not natural, and it appears to be basically a 9-inch square metal grill that has like 1-inch gaps in between it. So there's some sort of opening there, like a metal grill that's
away from me, right at that where it starts to
where it jogs to the north. Yeah, so you're just seeing it, with the torchlight and the crystal light itself.
Is it in the floor like a drain?
No, it's in the
wall?
wall. Yeah, it's basically right at eye level, but it stands out like a lot because otherwise the entire wall and ceiling is covered with these 6-inch long crystals, like right.
This let's call it this hypnotic color change that makes you feel kind of weird, right? If I close the visor on my helmet, does that help at all? Like reducing light. What if I, sort of shade my eyes? Does that help?
If you're not looking directly at the crystals, like if the crystals aren't in your view, then it's fine. So if like you keep your eyes down or whatever, it's fine. But it's just they just like the constant strobing effect is just sort of hypnotizing a little bit from this distance.
So if I were to wanted to go into the tunnel, and I had my shield and I was looking down and kind of trying to cover my eyes, I think I could get to that without losing my mind, is what I'm suggesting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's only like 15 feet away. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go that far. I'll look down the hallway and see what's off to my left, and then I want to investigate the grill.
Okay. Give me 1 second. Okay. Yeah, so you move carefully down. Once again, you don't think that you need a torch in here because of the pulsating crystals, so it's not a big deal. So you leave Pim behind. And you see that the corridor basically jogs around to the north for about another 10 feet before it opens up into, obviously, a much larger chamber. I'll just tell you generally like what you're seeing as he sort of opens up. It's it's obvious that you would be walking into from the southwestern end of a much larger chamber. That itself has like a 12-foot high ceiling, and there are milky glowing crystals that are actually hanging from the ceiling. They're about 2 feet long, right? And something is actually dripping. Once again, you're seeing this from a distance, so you can't quite make it out, but they're sort of dripping slowly onto a floor of white sand, but that sand appears to be like wet. Right, so it has like a slightly darker shade to it than what you're standing on right now, which is dry sand. However, what really draws your eye up that corridor into that larger chamber is the brilliant red, like blood red color of the walls, and they're covered with like this sort of what am I trying to say? Like there's some sort of texture to it, right? It's not like it's painted red. It's like there's some sort of texture, but you can't quite make it out because you're right in the middle of like this purple orange stuff going on. So that's up to the north. Okay.
Not crystals.
It does not appear to be crystals, but you can't quite make out what is causing it. But it's like this deep carnelian red. However, you are right here at this grill. So
grill.
Yes. So you see that once again it's about eye level. It's 9 inches square, right? Clearly has been made by somebody, and there are rusted metal bars that are about at 1 inch gaps, right?
Yep.
And you look in and you see that there is a 9 inch wide carved thing that goes 3 feet deep into the wall. Now it is riddled, covered with hideous spiders and centipedes and other awful looking bugs that are just sort of crawling all around it. They don't appear to exit the grill itself, but they do tend to like crawl around the grill, but they don't really want to like leave. Like they're just sort of in there. So for those of you who have seen Temple of Doom, it's like that, right? You know the scene I'm talking about.
Yep.
So right. Yeah, but you can see that when you're looking through there, you're like, ugh, that's sort of nasty. And as you have to kind of look through all this squirming flesh and carapaces and stuff like that as you look through. But you see that 3 feet down, it opens up into some other chamber, right? And you can't quite tell what's in there. You get the general feeling that there's like a soft purple glow coming from there. Actually, you know what? If I don't know if you guys can see this with my camera, but hold on 1 second. Yeah, sort of. Like if you look at my background lights here,
yep.
That sort of soft ambient glow is sort of like what you're seeing from in there.
Right. Okay.
You can also hear, coming from wherever that is, soft voices talking in voices talking in like low tones.
Press your ear up to the grill, Ted.
I can lean a little closer. Argus doesn't like bugs.
It's a little bit too far away. It's like, yeah, so you can't quite make it out. It just, you can hear voices, right? But they don't seem to be raising alarm. No arguing going on. Just multiple people, multiple things discussing something.
All right. So I want to just back out 15 feet and avoiding looking at the crystals. Tell everybody that there's voices and that maybe we should keep our voices down. And I want to ask Guillem if that pond has any mud or like wet clay, silt, or if it's all sandy, because maybe we could just stop up the grill and make sure the bugs don't come out.
So the sand here at the lip of the thing is actually all pretty much dry.
All right, what about in the pond?
But yeah, you could probably collect some from the pond. Yeah,
I'm happy to do that if you'd like.
So it's not very big, and I'm thinking if we feel worried about it, we could just pack a bunch of mud and clay in there. Plug it up.
Use a torch. Squirt some oil in there, man. Light them bugs up.
Well, that would definitely catch the attention of the people on the other side of that.
Exactly. I'm thinking just stop it up, and then it'll stop sound, keep bugs from coming out. Just an idea I had. So yeah.
That. You want me to grab some?
Well, let's talk about what we want to actually do. Whether we want to try and traverse these crystals and into the big grotto, or try and there's still the northwestern passage that's above water level.
Yeah, I'll go peek down that.
Well, you have to get in the water to see it.
Oh no, not the one underwater. The one like
it's on the other side of the pond. There's no way to get to it.
Oh, I thought it was on the beach.
No, it's on the northwest side, and so the pond is between you. To help your decision, I also want to put out there that especially when Argus actually took a look at those crystals, they appear to be quite valuable, right?
Ooh.
So
you like that things?
Yeah, so you can actually take the time if you want to actually harvest crystals, but you have to have the right equipment and you have to have the time to do it, right? So crystals themselves are, very delicate. So to harvest them, you're required to have like proper mining equipment, right? So I believe that is actually a thing in the expanded equipment list, is like mining tools. I don't know if anyone actually bought those.
Well, I have a shovel and a saw on Ethel, but that's as far as we've got for mining tool.
Okay, so you do need to have mining tools. So just be aware that should you come back, that might be a thing. But should you have them, you can get a yield of a yield that's worth something, basically, of crystals for every hour that you spend mining.
I would not be surprised if we're the first to discover this, and that might relate to some of the voices we're hearing.
Right.
And
guys, I got fucking kids. I will be right back.
No problem.
Okay.
And just don't forget too that obviously mining is noisy, and it takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
An hour is a lot of time in the dungeon, but
it wouldn't be the time to do it anyway. But it's
actually
definitely worth noting.
Can I take a quick break as well? Do we want to do an official or
want to do a quick break? Yeah,
might as well.
We can take a quick break. We will be back in 1 moment. Okay, and we are back. So, right, so harvesting crystals is basically what it's saying. Takes some time, takes the right kind of equipment, but be aware that there is basically literally treasure all around you. So,
The best and the worst kind of treasure.
Right.
friendship is the greatest treasure?
So, is that right?
How much XP do we get for friendship?
I don't. Yeah.
None, apparently. I can see where this game is.
A quarter will get you a cup of space dust. Guillem, if you're still in the pond farting around, can you look down that other passageway, the northwestern one?
You did. It was dark, right?
It was very.
No, that was the underwater northeastern one.
Oh, the one up high. Okay.
I can go to that one as well. Do you want me to grab some mud for you in the meantime? Just due
No,
diligence.
the mud is just an option. I'm not wedded to it. If we're going to go one of the other ways, there's no point in filling a sack full of mud.
Yeah, because we should definitely look down that hallway because I mean, I don't know if you told us or not, but you heard footsteps go down that hallway.
I did.
I believe so.
Yeah. I mean, I meant to tell you if I didn't explicitly say it. All right. Well, you'll say that. I'll tread water over, do a backstroke. I'm kind of showing off for the Fae, I would say.
Okay.
Of course.
Like the whimsy that they exhibit and they're amused by is something that I think Guillem is going to almost perpetually play into because not just because he's trying to be fun, but because he views it as like a language that they communicate through, and so like leaning into it, much like
they're definitely
our dear wizard did, makes sense to him. So I'm gonna backstroke, spit some water in my mouth, and then go to the other side.
Okay, cool. They definitely respond to it. A couple of them actually branch off, and they're sort of they're like water skimming, like those kind of bugs that sort of like like make those little tracks in the water. So there's a few of those that are just sort of like all around you, sort of dancing around.
I love it.
But they're actually like water skimming, so like they have their hands behind their backs, like they're like skating on the water, right? Anyways, and you make your way over to this passageway to the northwest, and you see that it's very narrow and it's 5 feet wide, but this one has no crystals at all.
Yeah.
Right. Dark, rough stone walls. The floor itself is soft white sand, similar to the beach across the pool from you, and it appears to go off in a northwestward direction for. Well, you can't really see because it is completely dark, like absolutely pitch black. Right, the sun from up above does not reach this area.
Sure, I'm gonna just get on sort of my hands and knees, and as best as I can, quietly sort of stick my ear to the opening. See if I hear any footsteps or breathing or echoes. If I can get a sense of depth because of like the, like long tunnels sort of have a howl that sort of comes through them with the wind. I don't know. Just I'm gonna listen. Yeah. Is the bottom line.
So you're right at the edge of the water, basically, just kind of.
No. I'm going to I'm gonna get out of the water to the opening, this 5-foot opening.
Yeah.
Which is upon a shore, correct? Or did I misunderstand?
Yeah. It's in the wall of the cavern itself, right?
But is there anything that I can get out of the water to enter into this hole, or is it right upon the water line?
It's basically right on the water line. So you just basically crawl out, and then you're in the corridor.
Gotcha. So I'm not going to get out of the water. I'm just. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Ted.
Did you not cast the light spell, David? Underwater?
I've not yet. No.
You did not do it. Okay.
I can do it, but we were waiting on count of crystals.
I just wanted to clarify. I thought you had actually cast it, and so I was okay.
No,
okay, so you step out of the water, and you're.
And there's no point if it's flush with the water line, John. There's no point in me getting out into the hole. What I'm just trying to do is listen at the sort of mouth of this.
Yeah, that's fine.
Peek up like this.
Yeah, so like I could sort of like on the edge of a pool, I can sort of grab it and kind of put my ear in. I'm just trying to listen for anything that is human or spatial. Like I said, deep wind, etc., etc.
Right. Okay. So you. Give me a second. So first, you notice that to the north, I mean, you can't quite tell where, but I was wrong about saying it was pitch black. There is very far off in the distance. There's a soft pink glow coming from the north.
How far is that? Is that 100 yards? Is that 20 feet?
No. It's like you probably say about 20, 25 feet away. There's like a soft pink glow coming. Right. You do see that in the sand itself, there is a number of footprints that are going back and forth. Okay.
And what do those footprints look like?
They appear to be like small booted feet of different sizes and of boot variety, right? Like some of them are pointed, some of them are rounded, that sort of thing. And you hear off in the distance. Let's see here. Hold on. I actually have to roll. Hold on a second. Yeah, you do hear some rasping voices, a couple of rasping voices in a language that you don't know.
Interesting.
Kind of high pitched, excitable.
I have kind of a
crude language.
mapping question. Does this hallway tend to go like straight up and down north, or kind of at an angle out northwest?
It generally heads in a northwesterly direction.
Okay, so kind of that-ish. Okay, cool.
All right, I'm going to try it back to the party. I'm going to say it looks like there's another group of humanoids, different sizes. You know, there's several footprints. Basically describe what I just saw. I do not recognize the language they're speaking. So it sounds like in both directions there are parties of some sort. I don't know how popular this cave is, but we should bear that in mind. I don't think we are alone by any means in this place.
Yeah.
And as an addendum to that, like our rogue wizard may or may not be affiliated with either, right? Like clearly this is a haven for many people, you know.
Right.
And if they were hiding, they'd probably avoid other parties. I don't know. Anyway, that's it. Sorry, go ahead, Halifax.
So yeah, I mean, he could just visually see this, but how far from the edge of the water to across the water to that doorway that's in the wall? Is that 10 feet that you'd have to swim? Is it 15 feet? Is it 20 feet?
So basically, the width of the pool. What you're asking?
Yeah. If the pool goes all the way across, how wide is it?
The pool is. It's roughly 25 by 25, but very rough.
Right. So you'd have to swim about 25 feet from the shoreline to that opening.
Pretty much, depending on where you entered from the shoreline. But yeah, considered about 25 feet.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to make sure it wasn't something that you could jump or something, but
No.
It doesn't sound like it. You have to swim over there.
No.
Right.
There's no ledge. There's no ledge or anything like that you could traverse to the northern passage.
No. It's basically solid rock wall, except for the southeastern corner where it is that sandy beach. Guillem, also, you can confirm also that there is plenty of silt or wet sand that you can pull along the beach, and basically for Argus's plan, should you wish to do that.
Right. And then, guys, can we just sum up real quick? So we've got underground passage unexplained, other passage with the bug port and voices, right? So we know there's people down that way. And then the passage to the north, which we'd have to traverse the pond to get to, voices and a purple glow down there. So we basically have discovered 3 exits from this area. Mm-hmm. Let's pick one. Yeah, let's pick one.
I mean,
a turn went by. 2 turns.
Out of those 3, I like that place with the red walls, because it seems like once we go through the pond, that's kind of like. Well, I don't know, like a one-way gate.
The dripping things worry me, fill me with great fear. I would like to do one more thing, though, which is I wonder the staircase that comes down along the south side of this grotto. I mean, that'd be an ideal place to put a secret door or something like that, or some other hidden feature. So I just kind of want to search that area, John.
It'll take a turn.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're basically feeling along like the wall itself that forms the staircase.
Yeah, around any kind of markings or a passage or something that's hidden there, or if it really is that's just the rock wall.
Sure thing.
The stone that moves. Yeah.
Why don't you roll me a check? You probably have a 1 and 6.
Standard D6.
I believe so. It should be on your character sheet. I think it's.
Yeah, it's 1 and 5, 1 and 6. So I did not find anything.
Okay, yeah. So you look pretty closely, but it just appears to be the wall itself appears to be actual natural stone, and the stairs themselves were cut out of it.
Okay.
So the only indication of anything man-made so far has been the stairs and that metal grill.
Yeah. Okay.
My couple thoughts, and I'm gonna do whatever. My thoughts are we have groups in either direction that we have mapped, right? We do not know what their deal is. It is safe to say that it'll be hard for someone to track us through water or know that they could breathe through water in the way that we know. But if someone did know that, there's a higher likelihood, I mean, in Guillem's mind, that they would be arcane affiliated. So in his sort of like Holmesian thinking, though it may be a bit of a stretch, if a wizard is in hiding and they don't want to be found, they're probably not going to go where everyone else is talking. There's a big party of people. They're probably going to go somewhere that they can be solitary. Yes. So he would imagine that if they had the know-how, it might be wise for them to swim underneath. That's my only thought. Happy to do any of the other ways, but that's
right.
I'm going to second David's or Guillem's idea just because maybe it sounds metagamey, but of all the directions that we found here, the one that we're least expected to go through seems to be the underground cavern.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? So maybe it's metagamey, but that's why it's attractive to me, because walking into an ambush of a bunch of like whoever on either side seems less of a dodgy, more of a dodgy proposition.
So you want to go underwater?
I do. And I fully realizing that I'm not the one in full plate, right? So again, completely understand. Although you guys don't even have to swim, you can just sink and walk down the trip.
That's
exactly what's going to happen. And if as long as there seems to be plenty of that moss to gather up, sure. Yeah, I can do that.
I think it's if you guys are comfortable, because I know it's more of a risk for you than us. So I think that's.
Well, John does have a very disturbing smirk on his face right now. I'm not sure I'm feeling that either.
We never want John to smirk. Comfortable's back in Prigward. I mean, we gave that up. So let's go do stuff. Let's go do stuff.
Well, I wonder if then. So just like for practical thinking here.
Sure.
Okay, fine. I eat the weed and I jump in the water and I sink to the bottom and my armor, fine. My armor gets rusty. My weapons get rusty. That can all be cleaned. We're going to need light on the other side.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I'm worried about is like, if you've got spell books on you, better leave them behind. Our iron rations going to be ruined?
I think we're probably going to stow some stuff and have Bragan.
Well, that's what I'm thinking is we should maybe go back up and leave some things with Bragan. Yeah. But then we are risking the possibility that, 24 hours later, we're still in a tunnel somewhere and we're starving.
Well, I think it seems like we're past the point of no return. We have a commitment to return, right? Like,
I don't know, man. To me, it feels like iron rations and spell books and all the rest of that. Like, spell books come in like wax cloth and you wrap them up very tightly, and they're spell books. Like a ducking in the water is probably not going to be the end of the world, And then iron rations aren't, by the very nature of them, don't they sound canned? I mean, it's kind of like,
they get rusty. Then they're rusty rations.
They're dried and they're meant to be preserved over long periods of time, not spoiled, but they are not meant to get wet.
I don't think so. I mean, to be realistic, right? There's not like complete waterproofing of any of this sort of stuff that just basically didn't exist, right? Like, I mean, there's stuff that you can go out and travel in the rain, and stuff like that. But like to be completely submersed in water, I don't think a lot of stuff would survive, including I don't think your spell book.
Hear me out. Does it make sense, rather than us deliberating the possibilities, does it make sense for me and Mike to eat some moss, swim 40 feet, see if we see anything and come back, right? Like, cast light on the rock, scout, the two of us, so it's not just one of us alone, come back and say, there's a passage that's dry on the other side, just past us, or it seems to go a long ways. Let's do that real quick.
Yes. And the other thing you're looking for is, let's say you go 40 feet and you come up in a pool or in a room. If there is more moss on that side, great, because we got to get back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and we don't know how long this lasts. That's right.
We don't know how long it lasts. And if you pick it, we don't know how long it lasts.
Fair enough. All right, why don't we take a fresh bite?
Yeah.
I'm down for this.
All right, I'm going to cast light.
It's been a couple of turns. Just stick, if you start choking.
So who's taking the bites?
Me and Dave.
Al freaking Guillem.
Yep.
Okay.
And you're casting light, you said?
I'm casting light on a stone.
How long does light last?
12 turns.
12 turns?
2 hours. Couple hours.
Light the spell. Okay. Got it.
15-foot radius.
Okay, so you're going to cast that on a stone?
Going to cast on a stone.
Okay.
Oh, actually, should I cast it on my staff?
Cast it on your staff.
Yeah, I'm going to cast it on my staff. Sorry.
On your staff. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's old school wizard shit, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the old Gandalf. All right.
Love it. And plunge right in. Actually, I'm gonna take 2-3 doses of this moss with us just in case. I don't know. I don't have a sense of like if I'm gonna feel like the wax is fading over time or something, but I'm gonna have some in my pocket just in case.
Okay, and you guys are taking nothing of value.
No, I'm leaving all my stuff except my staff and my robes with these guys.
Yeah, I'll bring my dagger, and I'm gonna leave my staff and my books and backpack.
Are you guys gonna like divest yourself of like the heavy robes, or are you like?
I'll ditch everything. I mean, I'll ditch if the robes are gonna weigh me down. I'll get to my skivvies.
So just the breech clouts.
Yep.
Breech clouts and staff.
All right.
How cold is the water?
It's cold. It's cold. So we have to, we of course have to compare physiques. So what exactly is your strength, Alfred and Guillem? We got to know.
I have a 13 strength.
Oh, all right.
I have a 12 strength.
Hey, you guys are not too bad for spellcasters.
Stronger than the fighter.
Lean. It's okay, Art. Oh boy, yeah. Yeah. You see, like, Art is like looking at you guys, like feeling his bicep. Alfred and Guillem are all like lean and mean. All right. So, you take a hold. You poof some of that yeasty spherical stuff in your mouth, and you can breathe water, and you dip into the water. Alfred, of course, Guillem's used to it by now, but Alfred, it is cold, really, really cold. You can immediately feel the current when you're in the pool, and Guillem guides you underneath. The sprites are like all in like a swarming like tizzy now. They're like, this is fantastic. They just love it. They're like, yes.
Current made me concerned. I'm going to get a 50-foot length of rope out from my backpack. I'm going to hand one end to Argus and to Halifax, and then we're going to take the other at length with us down the cavern, because if we can't swim back against the current, that's going to be really, really boo-how.
Very smart. Very smart.
Oh boy.
Okay. So, so you basically, you dive down. The sprites that were chilling in the water are basically gone now. But like I said, there's this 10-foot wide opening. The current is basically pulling you in there. It's not that hard to resist it right now. And you dive in, correct? You go into that hole. Okay, so basically, darkness envelops you immediately, but the light on the end of Guillem's staff basically illuminates like this. What is it, a 15-foot radius?
Yeah, 15-foot radius.
Okay, so it's a very tight sort of band of light basically opens up and kind of shows you like the round cavern, right? Basically ahead of you as you kind of move through. So it's sort of like this dwindling light as you kind of move towards the northeast. Now, what you notice immediately is that you are going down at a relatively steep angle, right? Like it immediately just starts to dive downwards into the northeast, right? You can also feel that as you're that you cannot keep your feet, like you can't just walk down, because the current is picking up strength as you're moving down. As the water is being forced through this narrow passageway, it's actually moving quite fast, right? You can tell that it is not going to be getting any easier anytime soon. In fact, the further you go, the stronger the current is. You have a feeling that it will become very, very difficult to kind of maneuver in this should you continue, right? Like you have a feeling if you weren't able to breathe under here, like swimming and maintaining yourself would be very, very tough, right?
With the assistance of the rope, are we feeling confident that we can continue even with a strong current and like hoist hand over hand back? You think that right now going hand over hand back is possible, but should you continue on for much longer, it would require a check. Like it would require like a strength check. Is there a general distance that we've made it to this point, like this juncture?
Well, you feel like you've gone probably.
It's a 50-foot rope.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Yeah.
So
it's about 10 feet deep. So.
Let me just check the maps here. Give me 1 second.
It's like they could metagame, but like theoretically, they could hoist us back, the two of them, right, and assist our return if we needed to.
Yeah, you've only gotten about 20 feet.
If we communicated
20 feet down, relatively. But you can see that the light ahead of you, it actually looks like the water is actually going to actually rush out into like a large like opening, basically. Like it's going to turn into a river rather than like an underground tunnel, basically, here.
Interesting.
Oh my god, I'm so conflicted.
So I have a quick question, John, because I don't recall seeing a water source above the pond. There was no waterfall. Was there a waterfall?
Yeah, from up above the
lake.
Okay, so the waterfall was coming from the lake into the hole at the surface. That is now pushing back down into what appears to maybe be an underwater river or cavern that we are not aware of. But it will probably spill over another waterfall is what I'm kind of getting the sense of. Well, do we want to like hoist back and communicate this to the gang and see what's up?
I want to keep going.
I do too. Like I do too. You know.
All you got to do is let go of the rope, man.
Yeah. Or I do. Instead, what I will do is, if one of us can hold it safely, Matt.
Why don't you hold on to it, and I'll like push an iron spike down into the.
I was going to say, let's add another rope to it. Make it a 100-foot rope.
Oh, there you go. Oh, you know what? Well, I have my.
I have one in my pack.
I do too.
I have one.
I have my grappling hook, so we don't have to make a lot of noise. I can just hook it onto something secure.
Get the hook.
Shall we swim back? Let's say we swim back and communicate to these guys what's going on, and you're having this idea as a result.
If you swim back far enough to actually rise to the surface, it's going to take a turn.
Just keep going. We've figured out what you're up to. We're adding rope.
Okay, sure. All right, let's keep going.
This is like the best scene of The Abyss right now.
This is the beginning of Alien as we, sort of like tangle down.
Yeah, we're gonna come to a cavern with all these eggs in it.
Yeah. So to be clear, it's more like a gradual slope. It's not like a straight down, but yeah.
So it's a water slide.
So eventually, as you move down again, it basically, the water. I don't know how this would work physically, but basically it stops becoming like a water-filled tunnel and actually becomes like a more of like a raging river. So there is actually like air above you in this tunnel, and indeed, as you are now basically swimming, and you can raise your head up, you're being shot down, not shot down, but it's very quickly like rapids basically as you're kind of moving down, and you can see that you're about to kind of go over a lip of another waterfall.
Do we see any sort of land to our left or right that we could get over to?
No, unfortunately, it appears to be like completely encased. The only light, once again, is your staff, and it appears to be like you're just in the middle of like a dark, claustrophobic tunnel. Okay.
What is our rope distance at this point?
You've probably used about 30 feet of it now.
So we could continue further towards the waterfall. We can breathe, so we're not going to drown from the water, but it is going to be a lot of pressure.
It looks like if you let loose, if you went to the extent of the 50 feet of your original rope, not knowing that Argus and Halifax have tied another 100 feet, another 50 feet, that you would basically go over the fall, and that's like where you basically be like just bobbing on the top of the fall at the end of the rope. You know what I mean? Like that would be the extent of the rope.
Quick question though, John. Don't we? I mean, so 30 feet of tunnel, but we also have to cover the distance.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. Yeah. So I would. Yeah. So you're probably at the. We'll just say you're at the maximum reach right now.
Of the original 50.
Of the original 50. So you're being tugged, like down, right? As the current is like pulling you down. You can see that the waterfall itself is nowhere near as large as the waterfall that enters into the pool itself.
Okay, so it's not like a 50 or 100-foot drop off the waterfall.
It does not appear to be. No, it's not. It's not like raging. It's just very, very, very fast moving.
Is this water deep enough that we actually have to swim in it, or can we like stand in the river with our heads above water?
You have to swim, unfortunately. Yeah.
I need to step away for 1 minute. Tuck in a kid. I'll be right back.
No problem.
I don't know, man. What do you want to do?
I mean, I want to go further, but I also don't want to split the party permanently. So
Well, after a certain
communicating our situation seems important.
After a certain point, man, splitting the party, no matter, we'll no longer have split the party.
Oh, because we'll be dead? Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That problem solves itself.
Again, like, underwater tunnel leading to river cavern is incredibly compelling to me.
Yeah.
Obviously. Now, what's in my mind as I'm experiencing this as Guillem is, the others should join us. How can we secure this? Could I nail a pylon against the wall above the waterline and like do another loop of the rope to further secure it? You know, et cetera, et cetera. Could we make this more of a sturdy, retractable situation, or are we going to get to a point where like no matter what rope we have, we're through, right? Like we're on the other side, and that's the decision we've made. Because if that's what we're doing, we need to bring them with us, kind of, right?
Well,
yeah, but we've already kind of established that we can't bring them with us without destroying all of our equipment. So yeah, this is us on an exploration thing, or to see if we can loop around and find another entrance that they can come meet us, or, you know, you and I are basically like we're pioneers here, man. We either
okay.
we either compel forward or we or we don't.
Everyone can go down there because of the water breathing thing, right?
Yeah,
yeah,
and they can wear your armor. You just won't be
worried about our stuff.
Yeah, you leave our stuff with Bragan.
You would have to like give up a lot of stuff. That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I would just like
give
say
up almost anything, but not having a spell book just seems like a.
Well, I've always wanted to inherit a spell book and become a wizard.
Sure.
That's
you've got the con for it.
All right. Well, I mean, look, you know where my mind is as a player, but I don't want to make that decision for us as a party. So I think you should weigh in because I'm the guy who did the cannonball. You.
I'm gonna keep going, John. I will.
All right, then we're continuing.
I'm gonna go to the very end of the. I'm gonna go to the very end of the rope and crane out over the waterfall and look at Menzo Brands down below us.
I'll keep playing out rope as long as they don't seem to be jerking on it to get pulled back. So I'll keep playing it out.
Yeah. Okay. So you think that you guys are at the end of your rope, but you actually aren't. You realize that you don't know how, but you got more rope than you thought, and so you're able to like let out more. So it's taking all your effort basically to sort of hold on to the rope as the current basically trying to drag you over this waterfall. So it's sort of
an arm loop around the rope.
John, like something like that. Myself. Yeah. Okay. And so you're just like being battered by the water itself, like you're just like sputtering, just and it's just like once again, it's like basically just 15 feet of light around you, right? There's barely anything, and all it is just rocky wall, like all around. It plunges over and echoes along this wall. What appears to be a fast-flowing river, basically, that's about 10 feet wide, roughly, at any given point, with no walkways, no place to stand, basically just carved right through the rock itself. And let me see if it gives a height of these chambers. No, but we'll say like 10 feet high, roughly. And it goes off into, obviously past 15 feet, basically, when it becomes darkness. 1 second, just to check one thing.
Too much, David. It's too much. I know if we keep pushing...
You guys got this.
I know if we keep pushing past warp 0.5, we'll make it.
I've never done it before. I can't go any longer.
Okay, I will say... let's see. Well, no, you're at the top here. Yeah, darkness. Just darkness.
Does it sound as if the space has expanded in any way? Or is it still wall to wall?
Right here it does, because it's obviously cut through, over the millions of years, through the... Yeah. So there's like a vertical chamber here, right, as the water kind of goes over, but then it quickly collapses back into like a tunnel sort of thing down at the base, right? So you're at the top of this waterfall, and you're you're not looking out into a vast cavern where you see like this river going off to the north. It's more like there's like this vertical, there's like a wall in front of you, right? And then that drops down and then becomes like another cavern where the river kind of continues on, right? That's how I would kind of view how that would sort of work out.
I'm not even there.
Back up
so
over the waterfall will be challenging, dude. So
I mean, I'm aware. That's why I asked first. It sounds
what
like
I'm saying is
forward.
like that's not like just a gradual slope up that we're like pulling ourselves along.
Fighting the water to try to climb up. So we'd have to jerk it really hard, hope that they feel it, and try to fish us out.
Right. You can see that.
Very hopeful.
You can see that with the light of your staff right there at the edge of the waterfall, that you can see the bottom of the waterfall. So it is 15 feet, down basically. So it's not that far down. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna rappel over the side of the waterfall.
Okay.
It is. I'm gonna follow him. We're going together.
Wisdom 5.
Just said.
Good idea.
We're together. All right.
Nice. There we go. Matt's got the wisdom.
I love it.
Okay. So I'm going to say a turn goes by. Give me one moment.
Should I make for my next character, guys?
Somebody who can swim.
Yeah.
We're going to find the Underlake, which is the real dolmen.
Back up at the chamber itself, the pool chamber where Argus and Halifax are, and you guys are holding onto the rope. And Pim, who has the torch. All right, he's sort of like just kind of giving you guys light to sort of work by. You see that the torch itself, which is typical yellow flame, actually starts to flicker between violet and tangerine, like really quickly. Almost the same colors that are pulsating from the eastern corridor, like purple and orange, but it's like rapid and it continues. Pim, Guillem, why don't you roll for me a D6 real quick? Is surprised and drops the torch, and the torch does not go into the water. So he's able to pick it back up again. But he doesn't like it one bit. So you are working basically by this, by the small amount of sunshine that is pouring down from up above that hits the pool, and by this kind of strobing purple and orange torchlight. You have to take some convincing for Pim to actually pick it back up again. Just letting you know. Anyways, you guys over at the other end start to rappel down, and it is it's rough going. So at this point, basically, the moss, although it is allowing you to not like struggle for air as you're sort of being bombarded by water, it doesn't actually give you any sort of bonus to sort of repel well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
So I'm going to need you guys to make basically climb checks. So what you're going to want to do is, since you are not thieves, you can certainly do it. You just don't have as good of a chance. So why don't you make me D6 rolls? I'll give you both, since you do have a rope. I'll give you 2 and 6 chances.
It's a 5 for me.
Okay, so it's very, very fast moving. So you, unfortunately, you can't keep a grip on the rope. The force of the water is too strong, and you fall off and into the water. It doesn't cause any damage or anything like that, but you just and you fall deep into the water. Thankfully,
you find the rope again.
Yeah, the rope is basically dangling in the water, being flushed around by the waterfall itself. It's not a huge deal, but you plunge into the water. The moss helps you breathe though, so you're able to rise back out again, and it's no big deal. And once again, you can see with your as you're sort of sitting in this. Well, actually, it would still be pretty fast moving. It's not like a pool like there was on the upper level, right? It basically hits, and then immediately starts to move through into this dark tunnel, right? So there's this underground river now, instead of just like completely being covered by, being encased by water, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Do I need? Silly question, but did I see anything behind the waterfall?
No.
As I fell.
Yeah, it's tough to get a bearing, unfortunately.
Okay.
It would require like good manipulation of the rope. Like you have to grab onto the rope again and like try to hang on while the current is trying to sweep you away to the northeast. But you can try.
John, I'm just gonna loosely hold onto the rope, right, and just let the current kind of carry me down until I get kind of to the length of the rope. I'm not gonna fight it.
Okay.
I just want to see if I can I actually want to take some time to just kind of relax and rest. You know what I'm saying? While I go down the
lazy
rope.
river it.
Yeah, you probably need it after that fall. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so Guillem, are you going along or are you trying to hang back?
Are you going to tell me to stay or go with
No,
this?
I don't think we could communicate to each other. So I mean,
it's not fully underwater anymore, right? There's
air. Okay. Well, I'm going to be like, we're down here. I'm just going to keep on. I'm going to keep on going until I get to the end of the rope.
I'm going to give him. The problem is you need my light, so I have to be with you. So I'm with you. That's the bottom line. Yeah.
Okay, just give me one moment. And we've got 100 feet of rope, basically?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, one moment. Sorry.
Alfric, Argus is getting kind of nervous.
Sure.
Yeah, you keep feeling like tugs and jerks of the rope, but nothing that's like consistent, like a consistent get rid of, pull me back up. But there's something going on, obviously.
That seems like it would probably have been a good signal to work out ahead of time. A mental note.
Well, yeah.
I think all this random jerking, though, is actually Morse code for cut the rope, right?
That's right.
That may be.
I do remember you saying that, yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys gently kind of let the river kind of take you down until you're near the end of the rope. So it's dark, fast moving. It doesn't take you long before you are at the end of the 100 feet of rope, and basically just like this 10-foot high chamber that the river is cut through. Your heads are basically bobbing right above the water, and as you course through, and then you kind of and you hit the end of the rope, and you're just like hanging on, and your feet are like sort of being pulled away, and you can see off in the distance, about 30 feet away, on your left, which you kind of feel like you've lost your sense of direction, but you generally feel it's probably the western side. You see that there is a very, very pale white light coming from somewhere in that direction. And
literally the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, exactly. Literally, exactly. And it is not torchlight or firelight or any sort of. It's like a pale, white, consistent light. Right? It doesn't flicker or anything like that, and it appears to come from something that is, like deeper within, off to the west. Like it appears that the tunnel itself actually opens up a little bit in that direction.
Well. Alfred. I'm gonna point at it and I'm gonna say, that looks like mage light to me.
Me too.
And I'm gonna say, we're very close. I don't know if we'll be able to get to the shore and not be swept by where that light is, because we can't see.
I also don't think I'll have the intestinal fortitude to go all the way back up and then come all the way back down.
Well, this is the whole thing. So quick spitball. Let's talk some ideas. All right. Climbing tactic, which may get us both killed, but climbing tactic when you are doing high altitude climbing and you cannot do a fixed rope on a pitch is to tether like a caterpillar to each other. Right? You have your dagger. Because if one person falls, the other person has the ability, perhaps, to catch the other. My thinking here is, if we are not trying to climb up and we're going to let go, it may behoove us to go up, I don't know, a few feet. Tie myself to one, tie yourself to the other extent, cut it, and go. That way we both have a chance to try to grab shore.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
That's what I would suggest if we're going to actually let go and go. It's going to get real slack on the other end, and they're going to think we're dead.
It's going to be a real pain in the ass.
More than likely will be,
game, though. It's going to be a real pain in the ass to run this game with like two of us lost in the Underdark.
That's what I said. That's what I said.
You can always make new friends.
Yeah, maybe we do. Actually, that might sound, maybe I play Bragan or something like that. I'll pay 10. Ted, go.
Yeah, John. So they've come to the end of the rope, and I'm going to guess we're getting a static pull at this point.
Pretty much, yeah.
We don't feel like the rope has gone slack, but we're not feeling any more movement.
No, the rope is pretty much taut at this point, right? So and it's just sort of every once in a while it sort of jags to the left and right. Right, but you know.
So it's difficult. I know what's happening. I'm trying to imagine how Argus would interpret this.
Yeah, you can meta it a little bit. It's okay.
Okay. Hey, Halifax, do we have any more rope? That's my 50 feet and Alfric's 50 feet.
I've got 50 more feet.
Can't hurt. Let's tie 50 more feet on, or should we pull them back?
They're at the end right now. Let's see if they need it. We can tie some on and let it go a little bit. See if anything changes.
If our corpse is on the end of the rope, it doesn't matter if it's 100 feet away or 150 feet away.
We're confident you're not corpses.
You can also meta it. I'm totally fine with meting it in order to keep the party together.
Right.
Oh wait. Let's do this. We're gonna do like 3 very quick like yanks, just to see if these guys can feel it. Just like 3 like.
Right.
Yeah, but you can. You guys can feel it.
I brace my feet against the bottom of the river, and I yank it 3 times back. You know,
it slips out of my hands, and I lose it completely.
Right. No. Well, you can't.
Okay.
Right, so you can yank it back, but just to be clear, you can't brace yourself on the bottom of the river. It's too deep. But yeah.
Okay.
But you can just
Okay. Let's add Halifax's 50 feet to this. We'll tie that on with a nice tight knot and start playing it out.
Yeah, because corpses don't yank. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, it would be slack totally if we were dead because we would have let go of it, right? Yeah.
Presumably, or if
it would just be dead weight.
Yeah.
Or there's a giant fish on the other end with our corpses inside.
Well, assuming that Argus and Halifax slowly let out the rope, you guys actually feel yourself actually moving forward. You're like, oh, this is the longest 50-foot rope I've ever experienced. You're basically controlled by Argus and Halifax. They sort of like allow you to sort of move more down the river. Right.
With that in mind, I think we should still be ready to snatch the edge because they're going to keep feeding it. And if it's 20 feet down, you're going to get slack behind it. So yeah, I'm like trying to like kind of paddle over to the side of the light if I can and look for anything to grip onto as we're going closer.
Right. Okay. So as you get closer, you see that what is approaching you on the western side is a long expanse, approximately 5, 10, 15, 20. Approximately 40 to 45 feet long, a long strand, basically on the western bank of the river, the first bank you've actually seen in this river, of a sandy beach with soft white sand, similar to what you experienced above, right?
Wow.
But the light are from tiny white crystals that are encrusted in the walls and ceiling. Small, much smaller than any of the ones that you've seen so far up above. And so they're basically like this crusted sort of, it looks almost like quartz basically, but they're glowing like a consistent white, like a daylight, like white. The grotto itself, it appears to be about 8 foot high, and there appears to be, it basically is like so it's like this long strand of beach, right, like 40 feet, 45 feet long, running from north to south, right. But the grotto itself sort of collapses in on itself as it goes deeper towards the west until it forms like a tight little opening that actually moves to the west.
So an opening like this big around, or like this big around, or
no, you can walk through it. It's just like it's like a 5 foot wide short passageway that leads into another chamber. So at its widest point, this grotto, which is the widest point, is where that corridor starts, is only about 15 feet wide. Does that make sense, Ted?
Yes.
Okay.
And the river continues on past the bank and then just keeps on going down a cavern.
It does. So you can't see with your with the white light of the crystals you can see. So you can see the length of the strand because of the white crystals illuminating it, right? The river seems to make a northeasterly bend right at the edge of that strand, and continue on into darkness. But it continues on into like a dark tunnel, like from where you came from, right? There is no more beach or anything like that.
Gotcha. All right.
Okay, let's get up on the sand.
Yeah. I'm going to use my dagger to try and pry one of the crystals out of the wall.
Okay. Yeah, you can take. It's pretty easy. You don't think it's of too much value because you need to take like much more time to actually harvest enough crystal to make it valuable.
Sure.
But it like the little bit that you like, they're tiny little things, right? You can kind of pull a little bit of them off, and they don't like. It's not like having a light spell in your hand, right? Like a little bit of a glow that basically like illuminates your hand, but it's sure. the sheer profusion of them, like thousands upon thousands of them, that causes like this ambient glow in the chamber. Right.
And are they like gem quality? Do they look like glowing like diamonds, or do they look like just like glowing rocks kind of thing?
Glowing rocks, like they're definitely crystals, right?
Okay.
Like faceted rocks.
I know this is a bit of a silly question, but I might as well try. Can I take one of these and toss it in the water and see if it floats down the river, or does it sink immediately?
It would do whatever crystals normally would do. I'm not sure exactly what that is. Sink?
Yeah. Sink. Yeah.
Like rocks, right?
It depends on how small they are. Very small rocks, definitely.
I mean, I could grind some up into some dust.
Okay, so first thing you notice, okay, as you step up there, and Alfred immediately like, oh, take it. He's like, so you guys are in your breech clouts, right?
Yes.
Basically naked, right? And you kind of crawl out of here, and you dripping wet. Alfred immediately like pries some off. Is you see that small opening in the western side, you see that there is a familiar phasing violet and orange glow, vroom, 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 coming from there. More disturbing is the fact that you see something has been dragged through the sand here, and it is something quite large. So something large and sinuous has made quite a deep impression, and there is one great clawed footprint about 18 inches across. Yeah. You can also hear from beyond the passage where that purple and orange glow is coming from, a slight, like a very, very faint, a hissing sound, like a consistent, like, but it's not like breathing, but like just like a constant hiss.
Like a fuse. Fuse. Yeah. Okay.
So it's like it's even, right? It's just interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Very, very faint. You mistook it actually for like the sound of the river, but then realized it was something.
Okay, else. I have a thought. We don't have the problem. We don't have any way to create fire. That could be like a gas thing. But I guess irrelevant. What spells do you have memorized?
I'm waiting for the part where you say we're going back up the rope, because 18.
I didn't say anything. Hey, you let us down here, buddy.
This definitely sounds like the part where you guys feel another. Yoink, yoink, yoink.
Yeah. Well, what I'm wondering is there a way for us to? Can we find anything to affix our end of the rope where we're at right now to the shore? Put a big stone, roll it over it, tie it to a stalactite.
Yeah.
Point is I'm wondering if we can just like have it tethered from both ends.
Yeah, I don't think there's like. Yeah, we'll stay. There's some.
Oh, that's true. You couldn't. Never mind. I redact that. They couldn't pull us up if it was fixed. So
yeah.
Never mind.
All right. I don't really want to go explore that cavern without our meat puppets in front of us.
Did you hear what they're calling? Thank God you guys aren't here today to hear that.
This rope is really slippery, is all I'm saying.
You can't metagame that much.
Another turn went by the way.
All right, come on, man. We're not going to go explore the giant snake
monster
like den, right?
No, I'm ready
Oh,
to.
poke your nose around the corner, man.
I mean, I'll poke my nose around the corner, but some things come to mind after our dear Con 5 meat puppet, as you like to describe them, encountered the hypnotizing coloring on those light sources. Is, I think, big 15 or 18-inch claws, hypnotizing lights, basilisk. I don't know, like, you know what I mean, like.
Yeah.
Easy way to be docile so that a big thing can eat us without much resistance. So if we went anywhere in there, I would be chilling my eyes. But the question is, can we? I mean, we're not going to do that. So we're going to tug 3 times again and hope that they pull us up. I don't know. We didn't communicate any signals is the problem. So like this is. There's really no reason they would think.
You can retcon and have like a signal. It's not a big deal.
All right.
I'm gonna wrap the rope around my waist, kind of thing. I'm also gonna take another dose of the weed.
Likewise.
Before I go back in the water.
So I'm gonna do both of those things as well.
So you're not going to peek around in the little tunnel.
I'll peek around the corner. Okay, I'll peek around the corner.
I'll do a quick peek. Yeah.
All right. You're gonna do it. Do you need light? Yeah. Oh, no, you don't need light because it's glowing. And I'm gonna say, watch out.
Wisdom 5. Let's do this.
Okay.
Look at the ground. Don't look ahead. You'll get.
Okay, so you peek down that corridor and you see that it's only 5 feet wide roughly, and it's only about 5 feet deep before it enters into a much larger chamber than when you are currently.
Okay, I'm gonna go peek around that corner then.
Huh? What do you mean?
Like move in 5 feet.
Yeah, I'm gonna move the 5 feet and then go look into the much larger chamber.
Yeah. I mean, it's 5 feet, so you're just basically like standing in the corner and looking. Yeah. So you see that you are on the eastern end of a much larger chamber, which is roughly 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, about 35 east to west. You were coming in from the eastern side, and about 30 feet north to south, roughly. Once again, this is a natural cavern. It's a crystal grotto about 15 feet high with rough stone walls, and the floor itself is actually rough stone. It's no longer sand here, okay? There are pulsating crystals that cover the walls in the ceiling, and they are phasing basically the violet and orange, right? They're about 6 inches long. They're let me double check here. Hold on. In the midst of the chamber, dominating it, is what appears to be a mineral pool of some sort. Oh. Okay, this pool.
I thought you were going to say dragon.
No, in the midst of the pool, there appears to be a steaming pool that actually has like yellowish orange waters. All right, and there's like almost like a prismatic smoke that's sort of rising up out of the pool, right? Like this, like steaming sort of mist that kind of comes out of it. Okay, the pool itself is actually rimmed with crystals itself, that form this sort of like grainy white deposit around the edge of the pool, right?
Like Yellowstone.
Yeah, similar. The pool is roughly about 15 east to west by 10 north to south, and it's basically directly in this middle of the room of the chamber, okay. Right?
Alfred, do you think the moss will help us breathe acid water?
You can tell that the hiss is actually coming from the pool itself, from the steam, but as you kind of step in, you kind of take a look around. So once again, it's covered. The whole thing is vast, right? Is covered with these pulsating crystals. You can hear in the northwestern side. You hear a faint voice coming from up above. So it's across the chamber, right? Like through this prismatic sheen, you can hear a faint voice, and you hear a male voice whimpering and pleading, like, please don't, no.
Well, we gotta save them.
But it's coming from up above, right?
Yeah.
So if you're me, it's coming from like way over there and up.
Right. I mean, you might want to go save him, and that's laudable, but that guy might actually be closer to Halifax and Argus.
That's what I'm wondering. Um,
No way, you guys are hundreds of feet into the...
It may also be some terrible mimic that's waiting to eat us.
Yeah.
Okay, so if it is okay that we retcon some signals, are you sure, John?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
So it's
Do you
reasonable.
want to go into the chamber?
It's reasonable. Well, hold on, it's reasonable
Do
to
you want to
think.
go into the chamber to go try and hear that better?
I mean, I would, but before we do too much of a duo session, which we've kind of done, I just want to. I think it's reasonable we would have a signal for pull us back, a signal for follow us, and a signal for oh god, we're dead. I don't know,
They can't follow us, man, because their equipment's going to be away.
No, I understand.
I do think we need to take a moment though for metagame. You know, Ted and Matt have not played a lot, so I do think we need to get them back in the action one way or the other.
Yeah, I agree. So following us would get them back in the action, in other words, or we ditch this entirely and we go join them when we start over at the entrance of one of the other tunnels.
I kind of vote for that one.
All right.
So
we do the tug for bring us back, please.
We take another dose of the gillyweed.
Okay.
We wrap our arms around the rope and we start. We do the tug to bring us back.
Okay, so I'm going to say a turn goes by as you were investigating the other chamber. At that point, up on the other end, Argus and Halifax, as you feel the tug, the violet and orange strobing torch that Pim has winks out. It burns through.
At the end of its six turns?
Mm-hmm.
All right, there's another one in my pack, Pim.
All right, so you light up another
strong
torch.
And hold fast, just like this one. It'll be fine. We're going to pull those guys back up soon. Don't worry.
That depends, John. How well can we see down here? Do we actually need another torch right now?
You do if you want to see beyond like what the sunlight is actually shining on the pool, right? The sunlight is basically like a beam that's like shining directly.
It's very direct.
Pretty much, yeah. It's very direct. Yeah.
In the whole room, we need the torch.
Yeah.
Probably a good idea to see if anybody's like sneaking up on us or anything.
All right.
Okay. Cool. So you start to pull them back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
yeah.
This is not easy because you're going upstream now, right? And you have to haul them up a waterfall, right? And that even then, the rope itself might get frayed from the friction as it goes over the lip of the waterfall, right?
You might be joining us after all.
We're leaving you.
Right. Okay.
Bregan down here to help us then.
So it's going to be no joke, probably going to be pretty darn tough, right? So for a while, it's just heavy work, and your normal native strength is enough to sort of pull them along the river. But when they get to, as you kind of move back and you get towards the small little area where the base of the waterfall is, that's where it gets really, really bad. So Alfric and Guillem, you guys are going to have to make straight up strength checks instead of like a climbing check to try to get up.
Can we get Bregan to help us with that?
Yeah, I like that idea too.
Yeah, Bregan,
just
wave her down
and help us
pull.
Okay,
so don't let me think about this. Don't roll strength. I think it would be more of a matter of combined bonuses.
Well, then I could be there.
Let's see. I gotta look at Bregan here. Hold on.
You got an 1800. Should be good.
Me?
Yeah, no Bregan.
Oh,
Bregan has an 18-0 for what?
For strength, man.
What?
Really?
No.
+3 to hit, +6 to damage, 1800.
Yeah, okay. All right, John. Bregan has a 13 strength. But it sounds like we also need to have the strength to hold on to this road. Let's let John figure it out.
I'm not sure how to do this.
Maybe that's like strength, like leg strength to help, like kind of like climb up because the rope, like you said, it's tied onto you. Right? Like so you can't but you still are gonna you're gonna have to use your legs to navigate through the rocks. Batman walk it up the waterfall.
I'm gonna say
taking a bunch of water.
There's Bregan, Argus, Halifax. Bregan, Argus, Halifax, Pim, and then Alfric and Guillem. So it's 6. So what I'm going to say is, in order to get them up the waterfall, I'm going to need 4 successful strength checks total out of the 6. Okay.
Okay.
Does that sound fair? So
Sure.
between all of you guys, and we'll say that Pim has a strength 10, just average. So Guillem, you can roll for Bregan and yourself and Pim, and then everyone else can roll for themselves. So I need 4 successful checks.
Mike, why don't you go first?
and this is just a 20-sided, correct?
Yeah. So when you do, for our podcast listeners as well, tell them what your strength is, so what you're trying to hit, so we can kind of determine if you're successful.
We're trying to roll this or under, or this.
Yeah, hit it or under. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I have a strength of 13.
Okay.
I'm gonna roll for myself.
Okay.
That is an 11.
Nice.
Right.
Okay. That's
1.
That's 1.
Very
Mike, you appear to be frozen. If you can hear us.
burly. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
He's better.
Okay. I have a 12 strength. I'm going to roll my 20-sided. I'm going to close my eyes. 7.
7. Nice. Okay. So you guys are doing your duty at the other end of the rope.
That's 2.
Okay.
I'll roll Bregan now. Strength of 13 as well.
Mhm.
That's an 18. It's a fail.
Okay, that's 1 fail.
And I'll roll Pim. Strength of 10. You said.
Yep. You can only afford 1 more failure.
Fitty.
That is a 5. It's a success.
Hey, Pim. Nice. Pim's like, that man's paying me. I'm getting him up out of here.
All right, that's all my rolls. Now you guys.
All right. We just need 1 more successful one.
There we go. Okay. All right. I'll do it. Hallie's strength is a 14. We'll roll the d20. Ooh, 14.
Oh, you hit it. Just enough. You got to hit it or under. Okay. So, Argus, we don't need you.
Oh, yeah, I know. I'm going to roll just to see how badly I would have been, how badly I would have screwed it up.
What is Argus's strength, by the way?
A 10. But his strength isn't 10. It's a good thing Matt made it. All right.
What is Argus good at? I just got to know.
Just being awesome. Argus is the best.
My favorite warrior.
He is. He's like the fan favorite, man. All right. So, success. So it's like it exhausts like all 6 of you, right? It's just like heaving and as you guys are pulling over the lip of the, and there's just water everywhere, right? As you're being pulled over the lip, you look a little bit. You could see, even though it's basically buried underneath the water, but like the rope is like definitely like fraying right there, as the weight of your bodies as you were going up. But it holds. You guys are up. The rest of
roll a D100.
Yeah, the rest of the journey is not easy either, but it's a breeze compared to what you had to do to get up there. So you're able to make it back. You have to fully take use of the moss as it becomes the enclosed tunnel once again, and you splash out into the pool as you surface, and you're like, oh, well, not really, because you've been breathing moss, so it's all good. The sprites have basically like roosted on like the walls of the cavern basically, and like they give you like a huge round of applause. They're just like, good job, and they're like buzzing all around and everything.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna relate what we've seen. I want to point out specifically that we heard sort of a whimpering person down in a big sulfuric cave.
I want to point out an 18-inch.
Yeah, 18-inch.
But
yeah, I should say too that that journey back took 2 turns.
Yeah. So, how many turns has that been now in total?
Total within the dungeon, you have spent 8 turns.
Well, on his light spell, I think he's asking.
On the light spell is your light spell is going to end in 7 more turns.
Okay, cool.
So, if we went down a tunnel and under, and then somewhere above us we heard a dude saying, "I need help," kind of thing, right? Which doorway would make more sense to go through?
On my map, we don't have enough data to decide that.
Yeah, anything could curve around.
You were starting at a lower level, and you were going downwards, but you were going away from everything that we have already got a sense of. Either one of these.
My other supposition would be that we saw the orange and purple glowy crystals. Maybe that would kind of indicate that door might be the door that we would need to go and do.
I think that's a reasonable guess, though. Yes,
I'd go that way. That's the eastern one by the stairs, right?
That's the one that you don't have to cross the water to get to.
Right.
I like that.
I'm inclined to think that that's a likely connection from your description. Yeah.
Yeah, John, I want to take a break. I want to eat something. Not me personally. Alfred wants to take a break, eat something, warm up, put on some dry clothes.
Yeah, it's very cold. You're definitely shivering.
I'll go over the torch.
Okay.
Before we go on, but then I'm ready.
I agree to all that.
Yep.
And again, I'll just point out that the most trafficked one is going to be the easiest to traffic. So the tunnel where the lights are is where the majority of in and out is probably going to occur because people aren't going to foist stuff across the lake. So we should keep our backs. We should watch our backs is what I'm saying.
It actually is a good procedural thing that you brought up there, Alfric, is that you do have to take one turn to rest after every 6 turns of exploring. It's actually a natural point for you to do that. So if you want to take a turn to get warm.
Well, we should extinguish that torch anyway since his light spell's going.
That's true.
Yeah, we could save our torch. Yeah,
good idea. Good idea.
All right.
Okay.
Then Guillem and I will just cuddle for warmth.
Love it.
So you're going to spend a turn resting?
Yeah, we could even spend the turn up in the sun where it's warm, and you dry out.
Yeah, just go up the stairs.
You want to go up and out?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Just to warm up. Yeah, sure.
Go up and warm up upstairs.
Okay.
Yeah, let's coil that rope up, put the rope away, put the grapple away so we have it with us.
What should someone not stand watch because we saw people move through the tunnel the minute we came down?
Why don't we just go partway up the stairs so that we can still see down?
I'm not saying we leave. I'm just saying we go sit in the rim.
Bregan can keep watch.
No, it's not a big deal. You're not like resting. You're taking a turn to rest. So as you coil up the rope, Argus, you notice that at the point where it went over the lip, it is quite frayed. And mechanically, it looks like it could probably hold weight, but you don't know how much. So it's basically like there would be a roll to determine if the rope would actually break.
For one section.
Can we just splice that out and tie it?
If you
splice up?
what you want to do with it is up to you. But I'm just saying as the rope exists right now.
But
Sorry.
Right, so there's 3 50-foot sections. Only one of them is compromised, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So I have another limerick.
Oh shit! Wow.
Willem went swimming down under, with Alfric in water, a thunder. The tunnel was long, the journey prolonged. Thank the saints, the rope didn't sunder.
Awesome. Love it. The sprites love it too, of course.
Yeah.
They start repeating it.
See, this is the benefit of splitting the party. It gives Ted time to make
There you go.
Amazing.
All right, gang.
Amazing.
So shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
What's let's do it. Where are you going?
We're going through the
we
tunnel
wanna
with the orange and purple glows.
Down
Okay.
that lower eastern one.
The eastern one. Okay, cool. So
Halifax and Argus are banging their swords on their shields as we go down the tunnel.
right. So
Wait, what?
Right?
He shoves the
You
wizard.
guys aren't doing that?
I hold my eyes. I put the wizard in front of my shield.
Great.
Is it safe to say that my robe has a hood, John?
does your robe have a... Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna pull it up.
Ooh.
To block the light from the, and I'm gonna kind of like look like this at the floor ahead of me as we move forward through those crystals.
That's fine. So when you put on your robes, just be aware, Guillem, that they are sodden, completely and utterly sodden, because of your initial dive into the...
Oh, that's true. I'm a fool. All right. Well,
it's fine. I'm just letting you
I
know.
put on my nice warm clothes and they're dry, and I'm like, hey, buddy.
I will say that if you don't, it probably will give you some sort of effect, like maybe -1 on stuff like fatigue.
then I'm gonna adventure naked. I mean,
not right now, but for, you know.
No, I just said I'm gonna leave my robes drying on a rock, topside, and I'm gonna skivvy it through this dungeon like a true.
You don't have extra clothes?
No. Why would I bring a change of clothes?
You're like a hobo.
He's a mendicant monk, man. He doesn't have extra.
Ah.
So wait,
if I could traverse the land in the nude, I would, without,
Are you just wearing your skivvies right now?
Yeah, I'm wearing my skivvies. Look, I'm not going to take a penalty when I could just be naked. Maybe a charisma penalty or bonus, depending on
depending. You are very pale and white now. Don't forget. Okay, so you move down this the corridor. Does anyone stop to look at to examine the crystals?
Yeah, I will. Also, I'm going to donate my crimson scarf to Guillem. The one I got from Argus so long ago in Brackenwald.
So he just has a scarf.
Love it.
Do we now? Chad had a good idea.
Probably makes him look more naked.
You want to do
It kind of accentuate the problem, doesn't it?
Should we do the mud thing, Matt?
Yeah, I was thinking that was a pretty good idea. To, mud up that.
So are the rest of you, except for Elfric, deliberately trying to avoid looking in the crystals?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So let's go back to Elfric real quick as you guys approach with the silt. Elfric, as you look at these purple, orange, and phasing, you are likewise drawn into it the same way that Argus reported that he was. And as you sort of look closely and you kind of move towards them, you get this giddy feeling of observing like an expanse of depth within the crystals themselves. You're like, whoa, man. So you specifically, because your mind is so profound, right? Already, as you gaze into it, you feel mentally cleansed, and like your brain's been literally washed. And are you at full hit points right now?
I am, actually, yeah.
All right, you have your hit point maximum increases by 1 for a little while. You actually gain 1 more hit point. However,
other shoe.
You
just with that other shoe, man.
As the rest of you are like as you're talking about like putting the silt in like this insect grill chamber thing, you notice that Elfric has basically stepped and has basically got his hands on the crystal and he's basically like looking right at one, right? And you're like, Elfric, and he's just not turning away at all, right? He's just into it. Right.
It's like a lava lamp, man.
Yeah.
It's like a lava lamp.
Anyway, so you guys are going to do your silt trick here?
Yeah, the thickest clayish mud we can get out of that pond, just pack it into that grill. And if the bars are 1 inch apart and it's pretty clingy mud, we should be able to do it.
It's actually pretty cool.
Even if we need to, we could use some of the like spore-free moss, like the moss that's been used up.
Like the stalks themselves.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Yep. As a matrix.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
So
I love it.
I just don't want a bunch of bugs coming out.
Yeah. So they basically like scurry away as you kind of approach, like they're like angry at your disturbance. You can still hear what appears to be some sort of whispered conversation going on beyond, and that sort of purple ambient glow from beyond. But you're like carefully and I assume quietly sort of like pack it all in, and it seems to work. It's like a really nice job. Sort of mortared this thing shut.
None of the voices that we hear sound similar to the one we heard whimpering down.
No, that voice sounded particularly. It was speaking Goldish, and it appeared to be a male human voice in distress.
Yeah.
Okay.
And none of the voices that we heard were distinguishable in any way.
No.
We couldn't hear them saying stuff. Just that.
Except for that one male voice down below, where you were
Gotcha.
there. But yeah.
Gotcha.
Right.
So it takes a turn to pack that in, and at the end of that turn, Elfric is like, ugh, and kind of comes out of his reverie. And you can see like his eyes are like a little bit wider than normal. Like, yeah, man.
Homer Simpson licking frogs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hypnotoad. Okay.
Those hypnotoads.
Yeah, man.
So,
all right.
Once again, right there at that juncture, it sort of jogs around to the north, and I explained to you that you could see that it opens up into the southwestern end of a much larger chamber that has milky, glowing crystals from the ceiling that are dripping something. But what's really distinguishable is like the fact that there's like this red texture that basically coats the wall itself. That's about 10 feet beyond from where you are right now. Would you like to enter into that?
I'll step up the entrance. Yeah,
that's the blood of every person who's walked through that threshold.
Yeah, how from the kind of edge. So there's like a 10-foot hallway or whatever. Mm-hmm. How far beyond that? How deep does that room seem?
It seems to go from the edge of that roughly about 20 feet. So it's about 20 feet north to south.
Okay.
Okay, I'll step up to the entrance and try and get a real sense of the size of the room and what's going on in here.
Cool. So, you see that you're entering in from the southwestern side. So basically, immediately to your left, to the west, is like the western wall, right?
Gotcha.
So it's a rough wall, a rough chamber that is. I'll give you the dimensions first. Roughly 20 feet north to south, like I said, and roughly 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, about 30 feet west to east. Okay. There are natural natural exits out of here, back the way that you came. One to the north, about 10 feet back from the eastern from the eastern section of the chamber.
From the eastern section, okay.
Okay. Directly across from that, there is a southern exit. So, like literally just like across 20 feet, there's like another exit to the south.
Like 5 foot wide or 10 foot wide?
These are all 5 foot wide.
Yeah.
And then there's another exit.
Voices might be coming from you.
There's another exit that actually leads towards the east, directly out of the eastern side, in the middle.
In the middle?
Yeah, roughly in the middle. Now, those are the dimensions. Now, it's a massive 12-foot high crystal grotto, okay? Large, 2-foot long, dripping milky crystals, okay? And they are dripping some sort of white milk substance from the tips of them onto the sandy floor, like the white sandy floor, but the floor is basically soaking in all of this milky substance, and so it's caused the sand to be like wet, right? Like a wet beach. The walls themselves, though, red, dark, scarlet, and they are basically what appears to be mushrooms, pimpernels, large scarlet pimpernels that are basically coating the entire wall, all the walls, right? And so like their caps are large, right? Like they're like this big, and that's what's sort of facing outward from the wall. So they basically form like this textured,
ups. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you can't really see the stalks because like the caps basically overlap each other, almost like armored scales, right? But it's like this soft mushroom fungus wall that's a bright red.
Hey, John, sorry, go ahead.
Yep, go ahead.
Can I pick up a couple stones and toss a couple? One against the mushrooms on the wall and one upon the floor where the stuff is dripping?
Aim far away, man. Aim far away.
Yeah. I'm gonna opposite into the chamber. Mushroom if I can.
You're gonna piss off the Smurfs living in those mushrooms, man.
So you chuck it at the wall, and like a couple of the caps get ripped off from the force of the blow, and they reveal like a white, like a pretty much like a bright white stem underneath as they kind of get ripped off and flop onto the floor, exposing like the underneath is like this forest of white stalks basically. Yeah. And then you're just throwing it into the middle of the room where there's like dripping stuff.
Yeah, I wanted to also throw it over to where the crystalline.
So that's the entire ceiling, right? So the entire room is filled with
all dripping all the time.
Yeah, it's all dripping all the time. Exactly. Yeah. Slowly. It's not like a downpour or anything like that, but it just sort of, and so there's these spots where it's hitting, but it's basically soaked up by the sand, so it sort of like spreads out, and your rock sort of hits and like it would in wet sand, sort of like punk and doesn't move.
So it doesn't sink down like it's quick.
Not really. It makes an impression though, and it doesn't move much further, right? Like kind of hits and rolls once and then stops.
What are we smelling?
Can I catch some of that liquid on the tip of my dagger?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Does it have a smell?
It doesn't have a smell. No. It has a mineral smell, right?
All right, I'm gonna taste it.
What happens if you stab him
it
with
tastes chalky and not edible.
Okay.
Spit that out. You don't know where that's been.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, you do hear something coming from the Northern Passage. Not coming. You hear voices coming from the Northern Passage, I should say. Issuing. It's a number of people of differing. So what you hear one strident, refined male voice that seems to be the person in charge, and he is talking to what appears to be a mixture of both men and some sort of humanoid that's doesn't speak Moldish very well. You would actually from your past experience with these creatures, you have a feeling they're probably goblin of some sort, fairy of some sort of low fairy. Not really sure, just based upon your interaction with them in Phrygia from before. But you hear like echoing from the chamber above, kind of in hushed tones a little bit, like they're trying to be relatively quiet. It's like, I'm willing to pay you whatever you desire in order for you to guard these chambers while I go and continue to investigate what is rightfully mine. And you hear like a couple of other men, like rougher voices, like you should go along with the deal. It was a good one. He treats us fair. And then the goblins respond in kind. They're like, well, we've been down here for a while. What more can you offer us? It's like, well, if I'll offer you this, if you don't agree to it, I'll make sure that every single one of you is slaughtered. How would you think about that? So it's like sort of that back and forth, like negotiation going on.
I don't like it.
Sounds like a mean wizard guy.
It does.
It doesn't sound like the Harrowmore Knights, does it?
It doesn't, no.
I'll tell you what it sounds like. It sounds like an opportunity for Guillem to go in there and do some union organizing.
All I'm asking you to do is to guard the stairway yonder and make sure that whoever is down there, you claim it is some sort of sorceress. I find it hard to believe, but whatever it may be, I don't want her or it to come up while I'm investigating these upper chambers. You know the area. You know your best way to lay your tricks and traps. So I would leave it up to you and pay you handsomely.
Well, gents. Hey guys. If we want to get a start on him, he just threatened to kill those goblins. They might be a little more friendly with us.
Or we just try and bypass that northern corridor and just get out of here. Get behind them.
Yeah. Option as well, if we're not looking for the wizard. Are we here to just adventure, or are we here looking for the rogue wizard?
I think we're just here to explore, but hopefully find the wizard.
Well,
I'm here to get
eyes.
I mean, that guy sounds a little rough, but what we can tell from just what he's saying is he wants to. Maybe he's also trying to explore and exploit this cave.
Yeah,
maybe he's not looking for that wizard or related to that rogue wizard at all.
Absolutely. It sounds like he has sort of an aristocratic tenor, or certainly an educated one, and he has some ruffians he's hired. We don't know, save getting closer and looking. Also, we shouldn't have a full conversation, probably, so I'm going to... Okay, well. I'm down to do it.
Yeah, we're in hushed voices, I assume.
Yeah. I mean, I have silence. I don't know. We can do whatever. Later, if he succeeds with those negotiations, we're going to have some goblins that have been paid to defend some stairs that we might have to interact with. So the point of me saying that we intercede now is that they have not yet accepted the deal. And he's threatening them. And that gives us some advantage if we need it. But that doesn't mean we want to go into a war with some random guy we don't know anything about. He just sounds like he's a shitdeal. That's what I'm getting at. And I'm trying to organize a union for Ted's.
That's from the northern passage, right, John?
It's in the Northern Passage, yeah.
Let's just go south. Let's just sneak in quiet and go into the South Passage. They're supposed to be guarding the stairs? Oh wait, Brega's there.
Brega's there. They're gonna get, if they succeed at guarding the stairs, they're blocking our way out. They potentially get into a combat with Pim and Brega and kill her.
Well, Pim's with us.
No, it appears that he was referencing the stairs coming from below.
Because he's gonna look into the upper chambers. I see. That makes sense.
Now,
Okay.
yeah, now I understand. Okay.
Yeah.
Even better. Let's just go to the southern corridor then. Because they're probably supposed to stay where they're at, guarding that staircase over there.
Sounds good.
All right.
Let's sneak towards the southern corridor there, John.
John, we don't hear any names at all bantered, either by that guy or his henchmen, do we?
You do hear a couple of names. So it appears that they only refer to the gentlemanly aristocratic accent, as you said, as master. All of them refer to them that, both the humans and the goblins. You do get one of the names of the goblins appears to be Spork.
Love it.
Of course it is.
Okay. That could be helpful. Got it.
1 second here, sorry. Looking up a thing.
What's that scene in Blazing Saddles where the sheriff comes in, message for Spark, dressed as a Western Union kid. You can really disrupt stuff that way. It works in all the...
I should also say that when you ripped off the mushroom caps, Guillem, with that stone, that it did expose what appeared to be a strong cinnamon odor was exposed whenever it got ripped up. Like spice. Like spice.
Does Guillem recognize these mushrooms at all? Being a man of fungus as he is?
You've never seen these before. Yep. So, heading south, and I'm basically going to give you a quick overview, and then we're gonna end it here. There is only a 5-foot long passageway that leads into another chamber. It appears that you're coming in directly from the northern side of this chamber, directly in the middle. Okay.
Okay.
The chamber itself is roughly 20 by 20, natural, once again. Now, this one is interesting. Also a 12-foot high crystal grotto, but the 2-foot long crystals that are hanging from this ceiling are actually a metallic gray. And the floor is, once again, a wet white sand. Okay, but blanking the walls, and likely what you had anticipated, is some sort of moss that is purple and is giving the place an ambient purple glow, which is what you saw from the other side of the metal grill before you blocked it up, right?
Okay, that makes sense. This is the
other side of
Yep. That checks out on my map. Okay.
Yep. And I should have said before you actually entered that there is a keening sound coming from the chamber, like a long, like high pitched keening. But as you enter, the crystals themselves, metallic crystals hanging from the ceiling, actually cease their keening, which is what was actually doing it. And in a deep rasping voice, the crystals themselves emanate outwards a strange rasping voice that says, and it's sort of like unified and echoed, like multi-tracked basically, right? And it says, "Bow, mortal, before the faceless lord." It rings out. And as
our buddy in the other chamber heard us. No surprise now.
No, well, it's not like it doesn't like yell out, right? It's just, but the crystals do say that, but it does cause the 7 figures that are in this room to turn around, and these are very, very strange looking things. These are about 3 to 4 feet tall. Actually, I have a picture for you.
Wait, 3 to 4 apples tall?
3 to 4. What did I say? Did I say apples? 3 or 4 feet tall.
My second Smurf reference of the day.
Oh. All right. So I actually have a thing here. I'll show you what they look like. Over on Owlbear.
Yeah.
It's really small.
Zoom in on it.
Shut up, Ted. Oh, I see it.
Those guys are awesome.
So don't move it around because I'm displaying it for the viewers as well. All right, so there.
You could trade Ethelyn for one of these guys.
Right, so there's like 7 of them, right? They're kind of grubby, scrawny looking things, about 3 to 4 feet tall. They all have like really sallow, drooping skin, right? And these moon-like eyes with like large, sharp ears. And they have these huge packs on their back, and they're all sort of hunched over, right? And they appear to be all along the walls collecting this moss. Now, as they kind of look over and they've got these bright eyes, right, within this sallow skin, you see one actually, apparently, like just as an instinctive reaction to fear, actually transforms immediately. Like all of his gear, like immediately transforms, and he drops down onto the ground and takes the form of a long, 5-foot-long gray worm. And at the end of that worm, you can see his face is at the end of it, right? And it like slithers away and like into like a crevice, basically. The other ones are like, whoa! And you see that each of them, strangely enough, have their noses are actually like taps, like water taps, right? And you see that from each of them, something different, basically inadvertently out of fear, like juts out, like spurts out of their nose, like like that, and it like oh, you see one of them actually has long fingers that he's using to collect the moss, and it kind of goes flying as he leaps up in surprise, and something dark and reddish sort of like spurts out from his nose, and then his fingers uncurl, and they're like telescopic in length. They're like they just keep unfolding joints until they're like 3-foot long fingers, and he quickly clasps them up again, and he's like, we're expecting any visitors.
Fear not. We're but explorers. No worries here. No worries. We come in peace.
Oh, it is good. We are just merely peddlers, just collecting things for the moss dwarves. They treasure this so much. This pearlescent moss. They use it to brew delightful teas.
Oh, we're friends of some moss dwarves ourselves.
Is that right? Well, they are rather common, but you can't get this stuff anywhere but here.
Well, you seem to be doing a fine job. What's the voice that we just heard?
Something it used to be claimed by some cult from back in the day. Apparently, we don't know anything about it. Don't really care. We're here for the natural goods. Don't you understand? I don't know. They've enchanted the crystals. Quite annoying, though. Every time you step into the room, faces Lord this and faces Lord that. Don't know.
And so you come down here all the time to collect this moss.
We give it time to regrow, but only we know about it. We'd appreciate it if you keep this secret. The moss dwarves give us a lovely price for it.
Mum's the word.
Perhaps introductions are in order.
Oh,
well,
I'll go first. I'm Argus. Pleased to meet you.
It is a pleasure. I don't have names for them, but they introduce themselves as they are a particular race of Fae known as Scrabies. And as introductions, they actually they appear to, what they do is they introduce themselves is they put a finger aside their nose, and they look at you quizzically. Yes.
Sounds,
the last one who does this also has to.
I'll blow my nose.
Very good. And so he basically like he pulls out like from his pack like a little cup, and he's like, and he snots a whole bunch of liquid into it, and he gives you the cup, and he looks at you expectantly. Like,
I'm gonna
drink it.
I'm gonna take a big whiff of the odor, the bouquet. I'm gonna hold it up to the light, and I'm gonna do it like a shot.
Okay. So this is just from one of them, right? So he's delighted that someone else wants one as well, and he blows another one for Alfric. But Alfric and Argus, as you drink it, it looks like what appears to be like a dark red wine. And then you drink it, and it's actually like not particularly good. Like it's a cheap red wine, but it tastes just like red wine. It's like communion wine. You're like, okay. It's like it's not good, and it just came from something's nose, and you're like, ugh. But the other ones are like delighted. They're like,
Why not?
All right.
Penny in for a pound.
I'm good.
I'm gonna try and blow some snot into his cup and give it back to him.
They're like, no. But
sorry, I don't know your customs.
You get some of them actually have one where it's like tastes like ginger beer, and one actually has one that is like tastes like iced tea. Actually,
ginger beer, how refreshing! That's wonderful.
Yes, so they are collecting that now in the room. Yeah, so they're harvesting this purplescent moss. The moss itself is like coating the walls, and it's lustrous and thick, and it's like 1 inch thick moss, right? It has a violet glow, and it actually has movement. It actually crawls a little bit, it like sways like seaweed, right? And when you get and they kind of show you, they're like, look at how beautiful it is, and they show you like this carefully harvested stuff that is, and you can see that on the tips of the fronds of this moss, right, are actually little hands, like tiny little waving hands, like very, very tiny. And he's
how
like,
far fractally does this go? Does each little hand have little hands on it? Each little hand has more little hands
not
on it?
not that bad, not as much as you can tell, but it's similar in the way that the breathing moss was very, very tiny little spheres that you could barely detect. This is the same thing except like little hands. And he's like, watch, and he pulls Halifax's finger towards if you'll let him, Halifax.
Yeah, Halifax farts.
And he with his long hand, he grasps your hand very gently, and he's like puts your finger into the tip of the moss, and all those tiny little hands, they sort of grab onto the tip of your finger and just lightly kind of hold on to the tip of your finger.
Oh, it's like a wee little baby.
And he's like, delightful,
So
are they not?
sweet.
Is it not delightful?
Can you eat it?
You can, but I wouldn't.
Oh,
He says. Eventually, more people than you know in Dolmenwood have eventually eaten the purplescent moss once the moss dwarves have hold of it. But eating it raw, wouldn't recommend it.
okay. Thanks for the advice.
Now,
Hey, Ginger.
there's other stuff in this room, however, more than just these strange, scraby things. Most noticeably is, well, actually, only, I was going to say that there was the metal grill, but actually the metal grill is still there, but has not been blocked up on this side. But the insects are still squirming from this end, so it's basically in the northwestern part of the chamber. Now, on the eastern end of this chamber, though, is something very strange because it doesn't fit in with everything else you've seen, which is that there is a fallen door that lies before an archway that leads east. Okay. Now, what's strange about it is the fact that this is the very first door you've ever seen, and the archway itself is actually carved. Right. So this is the first human or sentient being made thing. The door is of heavy stone. It is dark gray, and it is pockmarked all over it. All right. The archway itself is of imposing stone itself, 8 feet tall. It obviously looks like the door fit in that jamb. And the archway has decorative carvings on it. And those carvings are of people writhing in agony. Some are naked. Some have dissolving flesh. And others are skeletal. All carved in a disturbingly lifelike fashion with exquisite skill.
Okay. Well,
That definitely sounds like a doorway we want to go through.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah. So I think that's a good place for you guys to sort of determine what you'd like to do. And we can wrap it up there for the nonce.
Can I ask Ginger Beer Snot if he's seen a human wizard wandering around the tunnels?
We can, but why don't we pick that up as a conversation for next time? Yep, sorry. It's late.
It is late.
All right, guys, it was a great session as always, so thanks very much.
Thank you, John.
That's awesome.
So everyone out there, you know the deal. You can listen to us on all your favorite podcasting platforms as well as here on YouTube. And don't forget to like and subscribe as normal. And we will see you guys next time. So thanks for tuning in and have a great week. Bye.
Night.
Thanks.
Bye.